G'day, it's Heath here from pickinglessons.com. In this guitar lesson, we're going to take a look at a really pretty melody, O'Carolan's Dream, and we're going to play it in a fingerstyle arrangement. In a moment, we'll take a look at part A of the tune here in this lesson, but if you head on over to pickinglessons.com, you better get yourself a copy of the tablature we're working from, and you'll also find part 2 of this lesson where we'll break down part B of the arrangement, pickinglessons.com. Okay, let's start out with a slow play through part A, and we'll have a look at some of the techniques you need to work on as you're learning the tune. Part A, once through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so part A there for O'Carolan's Dream. It's a really pretty melody and it works really nicely in this fingerstyle way of playing. Let's have a look at a couple of exercises just to help you get going with your practice on this tune. Firstly, you are finger picking, so make sure you're comfortable with that. If you haven't done it before, this is probably not the right tune to begin on. The finger markings are in the tablature, so if you want to give it a go, they're there. But essentially your thumb plays the low notes and your fingers play the higher strings. And you need probably at least the thumb, index and middle to play this tune. Your ring finger may get involved if you're comfortable with it, but really the index and middle and the thumb will be able to get you through it. Again, we're not really going to go through the fingering for this in the picking hand, so do keep an eye on the tablature, but if you finger picked before, it's pretty straightforward. What we will have a quick look at though is a technique you can use anytime we're playing a chord. This is really effective. Now you don't need to use it, but you can put it in if you wish. It's more of an interpretation on the music. So I'll show you what I mean. It's a rake. Without what I just played there, without the rake, so the difference is the chords, I'm separating the notes slightly, just sort of triggering each note slightly after the next. There are two ways of going about that for the right hand or for your picking hand. Firstly, you can do it with just the fingers, kind of getting one straight after the next, just in a little bit of a flurry there. The other way of doing it is to slightly roll your wrist as you play those notes, and as your fingers pick, you can roll that wrist away. Take your pick. Whichever works for you will be fine, but separating the notes pretty quickly together, but they're just slightly separated. It's just a nice expressive thing to do with the chords. You can do that all the way through if you like with the chords, or some of the chords you may decide just to pick straight. Again, it's an interpretation. It's a nice technique, so we can just call it a rake there. And it's really effective when you use it. But like anything, if you go over the top, it might become too much. So you can decide that as you go through. I do like how that sounds. But you don't have to put it in all the time. So the rake technique, that's nice. So otherwise, for your right hand, it's pretty straightforward. Make sure you're using your index and middle. Again, with those 1, 2, 3 notes, you kind of need to. When you've got the single melody notes playing through, you could get away with using one finger, but it's nice to alternate between those notes as well. All right, so moving on, let's have a look at some exercises for the left hand. Firstly, let all the notes ring for as long as possible until you need to change to another chord or another note. So for example, in this first measure, hold on to that until we play the open string, and hold on to that second fret until we play the G chord. Then hold on to that G chord until we have to play the A minor chord again. So letting the rings really cascade over each other. Another good example is in this third measure. Running into the fourth measure. Just have a look at that because the fingering here is a little awkward, but again, just letting those notes stack on each other so they will ring out. That's really important. So try not to do it like this. Try not to play it that way. Let them really ring over each other. So As we play measure 3, little finger's going to come in. Then we get to switch to the next chord. Third finger's going to kick off on the second fret on string 3 as we move into measure 4. Now this is the tricky part. We've got a partial F chord here, the root note in the major third. Little finger comes in to the F. We're going to try and hold that as a chord, let them stack on top of each other, and then switch as smoothly and quickly as we can into the partial C chord. So end of measure 3, second finger, F, root note major third, little finger into the C. So as you move through there, that's a little awkward. So first and third fingers, little finger, and then to the partial C with our third and second. So measure 3 and 4. Again, really trying to stack those notes. So choosing the fingers will let you do that and enable you to hold those notes for as long as possible until we change positions or changing harmony, changing chords. So moving through, measure 5 is pretty straightforward. The end of measure 6 here. So we're starting out with this partial F chord, and then I'm going to use my first finger to tuck in and grab the G passing note so that I can maintain part of that F chord. So that's my first finger doing that one. So you're really barring at this point between the fourth and the first string there on the third fret. So measure 6. With that bar position. Then we get to maintain that position there with the third and the fourth fingers as we finish off here before the repeat. First beat and a half, hold that third finger there, and then shift across to fret 7, the D note. And then running down that melody. And finish off with the E minor, resolving down to our A's. Okay, so really letting those notes ring for as long as possible. Just a quick reminder, try not to play it like this. It works, but I don't think it's as pretty. So do be mindful of letting those notes really ring and cascade over each other. So working on those fingerings, keep an eye on the tablature, they're there, and you can use those fingers as I'm suggesting. Feel free to change them to suit you, but do keep in mind you want those notes to ring and really create the chords as you're playing. Okay, so part A, really pretty tune. Not too hard to play, but a little awkward at times in your left hand. Really a nice and slow tune as well, so don't play it too quick. It's pretty, keep it slow, interpret it really nicely, and keep it sounding smooth and clean. Okay, when you're ready, jump on over to pickinglessons.com. We'll have a look at part B together and we'll break that down as well. We move up the neck in part B. It's a little bit more challenging for the left hand, but again, it's not too far, so it's not too hard, and we'll work on that together. pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.